So, hi everyone, my name is Pranav Mule and I'm excited to be here today to share some ideas, insights on Power BI. So, in this session, we'll explore what are the different components of Power BI and we'll try to explore different concepts using Power BI. We'll also try to see a basic chart like where we can get the data and prepare a chart accordingly. And hopefully, we'll come away with a deeper understanding of the subject. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, what is Power BI? So, Power BI is simply a business intelligence tool. It's a business analytics solution that helps you visualize the data and share insights with the concerned business stakeholders and the business owners. So there are multiple components under Power BI. Majorly, there are three types like Power BI Desktop, Power BI Service, and Power BI Mobile Application. So Power BI Desktop is something which we are going to use on daily basis, and as a developer, that's going to be our best friend. So before getting started, we need to install the application which is Power BI Desktop. So for that, you need to simply go to Google and type in Power BI Desktop download. Okay, so you can click on this link and simply go to products Power BI Desktop and you can download it for free. Okay, so I have already installed the application. So this is how it looks like. So Power BI gives us the flexibility of data connectivity, we can connect to a wide variety of data sources including Excel files, SQL Server databases. It also helps us to create data models and transform data using graphical interface, including added calculated columns and measures. Okay, so it also has a wide variety or let's say wide range of visualization types such as charts, tables, maps, and custom visuals, which can be customized and configured to suit a variety of needs. Once we create reports and dashboards in Power BI Desktop, we can publish it to the Power BI service where they can be shared with others and accessed via a web browser or the Power BI mobile app. So here you can see on the topmost part you can see get data. So here you are able to see multiple sources through which we can get our data. So since I am dealing with CSV file, I'll choose the text CSV option and I'll choose this data set. So I have taken this data set from Kaggle. You can take any data set you want to. The first screen which we can see is the preview of the data. So these are the columns which are part of the CSV file and everything is visible. Okay, so you can see these are the columns of our data set. Okay, so it does not give you an entire picture, but it gives you the sneak peek of the data, how the data looks like. So you can load, transform data or cancel. Okay, so load basically loads the CSV file in the Power BI as a table. Okay, so transform data, it means you are entering in the Power Query editor, which I shall be talking in the next slide. So load time depends on the size of your file. If your file size is really big, maybe in MBs or GBs, it might take a lot of time to do that. So it's advisable, if you have a small file within couple of MBs, then probably you can use these files. If your data is huge, it is recommended to put those data into some database and then use it using live connections. Okay, so now our data is loaded and as we can see we have come into Power Query editor. So we will come on this part later on. So I'll just close and apply. Okay, so our data set is loaded. As you can see, the data is ready. Here are all the columns visible, you can see over here. Okay, let's say I want to create a bar chart. I'll click at the icon. And one visualization is ready. And now I can just randomly drag and drop my feature, and let's say I want to like drag and drop gender on x-axis. Okay, but I also want to show as a data, so I want to show the count of each gender type. Okay, so here I'll just drag and drop, and you can see the values of gender like male and female. Okay, so it is plotted over here like a chart accordingly, and you can see how intuitive it is. So all is possible, you just change the visualization and it is automatically ready. So this is just an example. I just want to show you how easy Power BI is to use. Okay, so now we saw how. Now we will be talking about Power Query Editor, which is called as the playground of Power BI. So everything is done here, all the transformations are done here. So Power Query Editor is a powerful data transformation and cleansing tool available in Microsoft Power BI. Okay, so it is also available in Excel and other Microsoft products. It allows users to connect, to combine, transform and clean data from various sources to create clean, reliable and ready to use data sets. Okay, so now we will jump into Power Query. So you just have to click on transform data. So here we are into Power Query Editor. So Power Query has 5 distinct components. So the first component is the header. So this is my header. Okay, the second one is the queries. So this is my queries. The third is the table body. This is my whole table body. Okay, and the fourth is the query settings. Okay, here. And fifth tells us like how many columns, rows, any warning or error things. Like this is my fifth component. Okay, so this is just the basic scenario. We have a lot of things to cover in it. So the first component is the top one, where you can see all the options available over here. Okay, so the left panel is the query panel. So all the queries, let's say you have imported 5 different Excel sheets, so you have 5 different queries. Since we have imported only one file, this churn modeling, so we have only one query. Okay, so if you want to duplicate the queries, that's also possible. So like I can duplicate this, so it will create a copy of it, and here you can see the data or the body. So in the right hand section you can see some applied steps. Okay, that means any changes you do, it will be applicable here, the changes will be logged. Okay, so if you want a new source, let's say I want to add an Excel sheet. Okay, I'll just go into new source, add an Excel sheet. I'll just select this Excel file. Okay, I'll select the sheet. So since it has very few records, it will take less time to load. So if I click OK, you can see on the left hand side a query has been created. So you can also rename this and give it some I'll just give it a sheet name like salary. Okay, so if you click on the different queries, it will show all the details of those queries. Okay, so in the home section I can see the data source setting. Like if I want to change the data source, I can do that. It makes sense when we have live data. Okay, so refresh preview, it also makes sense in live data. Okay, choose columns, I can choose whatever column I want, and I can see that in the applied steps. I'll just choose columns. I'll just randomly select some of the columns, and I can see it in the applied steps. You can always go back to its previous state. Just click on the cross. Okay, so it's back to its original state. Next is you can go and keep rows. Like let's say if you have millions of records. Let's say if you want some top 10 or 20 rows, you can always specify that. So let's say if I want 20 rows, so yes, I can do that also. Okay, so this changes has been logged into applied step, so I can always go back into its previous state, like just click on the cross. Okay, so remove columns, like whichever columns which has been selected, those columns will get removed. Since I don't want let's say randomly, like I'll just select this and this, and remove column. So these changes will be get logged and the columns have been removed. So these are the options in Power Query Editor. We just have to play around with it. Let's say I want to replace some of the values, so I can go into replace values, and I've selected this column age, so I want to find some value. So just for example, I'm giving this number, so it's practically not possible, I know, but just to see the changes, let's say I'll give 31. Okay, so here first it was 31, now it is replaced to 300. Okay, so we can always go back to the previous step. So if you go into this transform tab and select on count rows, so it will basically count how many rows do we have in the data set. So we can also add new columns to this data sets, or we can say as calculated columns. So let's say I want to add a column based on condition, so I'll go on add column, I'll add a conditional column. Okay, so I want to add a conditional column based on age, and I'll like segregate the age into age bins. Age bins. I'll select the column. If it is greater than 50, I'll put it in a bin of 50 to 100. Okay, else if my age is less than 30, I'll put it in a bin of 30 to 50. Okay, I'll add one more thing, like if my age is greater than 30, then I'll put it in 30 to 50. Here I'll put as 0 to 30. Okay, so this can be brought down. Okay, else 0. Okay, as you can see, age bins column has been created according to the conditions which you have passed. Okay, so the new column has been created, which is called as a conditional column. So this is all about Power Query Editor in general. In this we can do a lot transformations. You just have to play around with it.